grumpy person that hasn't done tech that's like, what's the cash on this? And these kind of longer term financial projection type questions. So next, well, we've got an election coming up where we're gonna do financial modeling. It was supposed to be today, but this ran over. So that'll help a little bit, but make sure you have an answer for what does this business look like 3 to 5 years, best guess.
If any of you guys didn't want to book a slot with one of the global IRs, we're happy to go through it and help you guys put a slide together, even if it's just back of the napkin type thing. It still helps you a lot when it comes down to it, because it's nice to jump to a slide with something. And with these kind of businesses, you guys are in a worse position than other teams in the sense that
this is a spreadsheet business.
It's easy for people to understand. It's easy for them to encapsulate. Then they're just going to look at it and say, like, well, what are your costs? And you'll get picked up on something weird, like, you know, you'll get some question like, someone say, well, how do you deal with the health and safety, or like, you know, the workers' comp that's related to the person lifting the sofas, and you know, you'll get one of these like weird, like off the bias questions. If you don't have anything that shows you even thought about, you know, ensuring your drivers so they can do this kind of work.
We actually, you pulled it, we did put a slide in for insurance because we figured that was going to be
got
asked.
2 questions. You want to?
So with that Q&A where we could get stuff that we didn't have time to address, is it worth just having like a verbal response, or is it worth actually putting an extra slide that's kind of behind the scenes where you don't bring up until it gets asked?
Put a backup slide.
Yeah.
It looks so pro when you get a question, whoever's driving needs to know what slide that number that is, hop right to it, boom. Because it's like, oh yeah, you've had this question before, you've got to thoughtfully answer. It's
like have like beginning, middle, end, boom, like fireworks, and then after that you have more slides.
It's just the backup.
It's appendix. It's
Yep.
appendix slides, yeah.
Yep.
If we get that business type question from, you know, some business guy about what's your 5-year plan look like, is it appropriate to say something like, as a data-driven company, we don't have the sufficient data to make 5-year projections, so we don't want to make that kind of projection now?
I wouldn't do it that way.
Yeah,
Matt.
usually the way I like to reframe it is, we have a model, because what you're trying to do is convince them that the business works, that you've thought through it enough, that if you get the market part right, like all of the risk around, does anybody want this? If they do want it, what does the business look like? That's really what that's the answer I would want to give, not the, what's your revenue and your margin 5 years from now? That's super hard. But I think it's totally a fair question to say, if you figure that out, what does this business look like? What's the shape of this business? And that you better have an answer to. It's what we worked on with your kind of growth and margin slide.
So just a real quick follow-up question in regards to like our pricing. It's not like the numbers make sense. Did you look at those?
They
They seem low.
They seem cheap.
I had a comment on the like numbers stuff. You said you used the $25 couch as an example and said that if you go with U-Haul or other things, then it's too much. It's more than $25.
Yes.
But right before that, you had a slide saying $10 plus $1 a mile.
Yep.
And so to me, that's like for most people about $20 or maybe $15. So it's approaching 25. So maybe better say like a $50 couch or something, or 60, because then you're not considering, oh, what if I'm 10 miles away? That's the same price.
So, and here's the modeling too, of like when you have 10 customers, 100 customers, 1,000 customers, 10,000, what does the business look like? What are you making? What profit are you making? Is this a positive margin business?
Okay.
And if you get, unless you have a little bit of a back of the napkin model around that, and you get asked that question, you're gonna sort of hand wave, and that's not gonna go well.
The other thing I had was, maybe not important for your pitch, but you mentioned background checks, and that was one thing we looked into. It's like $20, $25 a person, so it might be really hard to like feasibly do that and make any money at all, especially in the beginning. So it might be good to look at that.
Okay.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.